A few years ago, we went out and we created a week's worth of Instagram content in one day. But at that time, Instagram Reels did not exist. So I think it's time we do that again. The reason why this concept is so great is because one, I'm horrible at consistency. You're probably horrible at consistency too if you're watching this video. And the second thing is you bulk create content, meaning you get mental space and bandwidth to create other things. So every 2 weeks, you can just set aside one day, bang out a bulk of short form content, and then you can post Monday through Friday for 2 weeks straight. So that's what we're gonna do today in this video. I'm gonna create 10 Instagram Reels that can also double as YouTube Shorts and TikTok videos. And I'm gonna post them Monday through Friday over the next 2 weeks. But this is what's gonna keep this process as fast as possible. The first thing is I'm utilizing a lot of footage that I've already shot. Now, I'm not necessarily cutting down my YouTube videos into smaller bite-sized short form videos. I'm just utilizing a lot of BTS that I pulled from my shoots to get my point across in my tip-based reels. The second thing is I'm gonna be keeping my setups consistent for videos that have the same concept. Now, I've gone through and I've written out a lot of the concepts for the shorts that I'm about to make, and a lot of them have shots of me doing B-roll of a product. If I can keep the setup consistent when filming the B-roll of the product and also keep the setup consistent for the talking head portion of the reel, it'll make the bulk shooting a lot faster. And the third thing is I'm gonna use CapCut to edit the reels. Now, CapCut is completely free, and I'm gonna show you specifically why it's the best app right now to edit reels in once we get to the editing process. So right now is the time when you just wanna go through and write out all the reels that you're about to create. You really don't wanna freestyle this because you're gonna be mumbling, you're gonna be rambling, and reels should be short, sweet, and to the point. I've already gone through and soft scripted pretty much all of the reels that I'm about to make, and now it's just time to get into the shooting, so let's do it. So I got my reels set up. That sounds so weird saying, but I'm using the Sony a7 IV with the G Master 35mm f1.4 lens for my reel setup. I got it mounted vertically using an L bracket, and I'm doing this because I don't want to zoom into horizontal footage if I don't have to. Now, a lot of the footage that I do have on the computer that I've already filmed from sets and BTS is horizontal footage. So once we get to post, we'll have to zoom that in and kind of do all the reframing, but we'll talk about editing once we get to editing. And every single one of the reels, I want to have a modern intro where I'm the focal point of the reel. You see me, you know it's me making the reel. And then from there, I'll do kind of like a voiceover style and then throw all the B-roll over top of that, and then we'll have the captions and all that cool stuff once we get to editing. This is a Black Pro Mist filter, and this might be the most used lens filter for budget filmmakers. But why? We're in the garage. This is where we're gonna be bulk shooting the B-roll for the videos, the reels that we're gonna be doing. This is just gonna be used specifically for shots of the products that I'm gonna be talking about in the reels. As far as lighting, I'm using an Average 300D with the Light Dome 2 300X. Then I got this really big boom arm set up to put the camera above. This is completely overkill. You can just do this at a window in your house. You don't need all this stuff. All you really need is a tripod. So it's the next morning and we're about to hop into the editing for these reels, the fun part. We're gonna get into the chopping, the splicing, the effects, all the cool stuff, but we're gonna be using CapCut to create the reels in. CapCut is the best application to create reels or vertical content in, and you'll see why once we get into the editing. It's free, and a lot of the stuff that you can do in this application is mind-blowing, the fact that it's completely free. So feel free to download CapCut. Follow along with this tutorial. You can even use it on mobile and you'll get to utilize the majority of these different effects as well, which is pretty dope. All right, so fire up CapCut. We're gonna launch a new project, and I've already gone through and I've already separated all of my reels into the different folders for the different reels. I've done the organization for that. Drop in my folder, and the next thing I need to do is I need to modify my sequence settings. So if we go over here, press this modify button, first thing we're gonna adjust is our frame rate. I wanna do mine in 24 frames per second. And then I'm gonna flip this resolution right here as well. So we'll go to customize and then we'll switch it to 1080p by 1920. All right, so once we do that, we're pretty much good to go. Now, remember when I bulked my talking head, I literally just had one long clip of me talking. So I have that. I also have my audio. I'm gonna go into my folder, and if I hover over top of the clip, you'll see this plus icon next to it. If you press that, it'll drop it straight down into the timeline. Now, I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna chop these and I'm gonna separate these for the different reels that I have. This is gonna take me a little bit, so I'm gonna speed through this and I'm gonna check back in here with y'all in a second. Now that I've gone through and done the boring part, now here's the fun part. The first thing that I wanna do to this reel is I wanna add some captions. You know when you see short form content like reels and Instagrams and TikToks, they have like the yellow text popping up with the person who's saying this stuff. Now you can automatically generate these audio captions inside of CapCut, which is incredible. So if I navigate up here to audio, and I go down, if I navigate up here to text, and I go down to auto captions, all I have to do here is press create. So if we look at our timeline now, we can see that every single one of the clips has these audio captions already placed on them. So now what I have to do is I have to go through and make sure that every single one of them is correct, because I don't speak perfect English. I got a little bit of an accent, and I'm sure you probably will as well. So make sure you go through your captions and make sure that they're right. If you click on one, you navigate over here to the top right, you can adjust the text inside of these. So now that I've gone through and I've corrected my captions, it's time to stylize these and make these pop a little bit more than they already are. So I'm gonna head to my font, my most used font, which is Babe is New. So if you wanna use the font that I use all the time, that's the font. And from here, I'm just gonna increase the size. Something like that is pretty cool. And then they have these presets right here, which are pretty dope. So you click through these and you could pick one. I like this one right here with the yellow background. I think that it makes it really easy to read, and being legible is actually a really important thing when it comes to Reels, because the majority of short form content is being consumed with no audio on. So the fact that people can be able to read what's popping up on the screen before they turn on the audio is going to be really good. So I'm gonna select this one because I like it. I think it's poppy. I think it looks pretty cool. So once you edit the text, it's gonna edit every single one of the different captions inside of the timeline. So I think that's really cool, and it also keeps your Reels consistent. So I'm just gonna drag this up. I want it to be up a little bit more. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through and add in the B-roll over top of my reel. I filmed a nice intro for all of my Reels where I'm speaking to the camera, but the majority of it is just me talking to a voiceover. So I need to overlay B-roll over top of those. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go into my folder with all my media. I'm just gonna drop some B-roll into the reel. Now it's time to do the fun stuff, the transitions, the effects, the spicing up, make the stuff look actually cool and engaging so people want to watch it. So first things first, with my intro shot, I want to give it like a cool transition so when it comes in, it pops straight out at you and you know this is an engaging reel. So if we click on our clip, we can go up here to the top to animation, and it is a bunch of different basically in and out transitions and animations that we can use for our clips. Now I've come accustomed to just like using the zoom out. I think the zoom out and the zoom in looks really cool. So I'm gonna choose the zoom one. I think that it just makes pop straight out at you. But it's a ton of other ones. Like you got rolling, you got sliding, you got like blinds. There's so many different ones, and you can switch these up for the in and out as well. So if you wanted to animate in a different way than it animates out, you can do that. And they also have combos as well, which is like a combination of different effects that travel over a certain amount of time. And if you click on it, you can adjust the duration as well. So if you want it to go longer or shorter, you can also do that. So another thing that we can adjust is we can also adjust text animation as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some animation to the text when it comes out at you as well. I really like this flash too. This is one that I've been playing with a lot. It's a bunch of different things you can do here as well. You can bounce in, you can roll in, you can slide in, spring. It's so many different animations that you can use for text, but I like the flash one. Now I want to animate in my photos. I pulled some of my favorite film stills, and I need the way to animate these and make them look cool. So if we click on these, we have the exact same animations that we can adjust. I like this rotating one right here. I think that this looks really cool. So I'm gonna just choose this for it to come in like that. And then I've added some keyframes as well, so it's slightly moving throughout the reel and it's not just a still photo. The next thing that I wanna do is I wanna add in some effects. Now effects are a little bit different than animation because effects can stretch over a long span. So think about like you wanting to put film grain over top of your entire video. That's something similar to an effect that you can do on here. So if you go to the effects panel, they have tons of effects, and it's crazy because this is free. They're categorized into different categories. You got trending, you got opening and closing, you got lens distortions, you got nightclub stars, distortion, retro. It's so many different things. So if you want to like have like a retro effect on top of a portion of the video, you basically just grab it from the effects panel up top and drag it over top of the portion of the reel that you wanted in. I dragged that on there. That has like a film effect to it, which is really dope. And honestly, this could look really cool at some point in the intro as well. Like that looks really dope. It's a bunch of different ones though, man. You got color film, which is really dope. You drop that on. I'm super into film right now. I'm not gonna go that super stylized with this because I just want like a slight movement on the images so they aren't like boring. So The one that I like is this rebound swing right here. If I just drag this over top of my images, I can adjust the speed and I can adjust how far it's basically moving. This is similar to like, I think like a handheld effect, right? So a handheld is basically just gonna move the image ever so slightly over a specific course of time. So effects, I'm going super simple, but if you wanna go super stylized, you can do that. And it's literally hundreds of effects that you can choose from that are just crazy and are free, which is awesome. The next thing that I want to do to the project to spice it up is add in some stickers. On Instagram stories, they have like a whole sticker section where you can search up different GIFs and stuff. They have those, not those, they have something similar to that inside this program. And it's tons of those as well. Now in this reel, I'm talking about halation, and I want to point out the specific point of where the halation is in the image so you're not looking around trying to figure out exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm going to drag it to the specific areas where I'm talking about the halation, and then I can also animate the in and outs for the stickers as well so they don't pop in really randomly and go out, unstylized. Another sticker that I'm going to add to the reel is just a simple follow and a subscribe button here at the end. So if I choose to double this as an Instagram reel and a YouTube short, it's going to make sense because I'm going to have both those buttons. I've already gone through and created like a small music library for myself when I was organizing all these clips because I want to be like super organized. So I have a folder of all the tracks that I want to add to mine, but they also have a music section as well. So if you need audio, you need sound effects or like any of that, they have an entire library here, which is crazy. And you can just search up a name, an artist. You can even click this little drop down menu. They have all of these different like genres of music. You need a specific sound effects like a whoosh or a hit. I think that would be really dope to add in here as well. So I might just add in some different sound effects. I'm gonna probably try to find like a whoosh just for like this intro transition right there. I think that would look really dope. And then I can also find a sound effect for the different transition effects for the photos when they come in. The last and final thing that I'm gonna do to this reel is I'm gonna do a simple color adjustment to it. Now I didn't film this in log, so it doesn't require a lot, but there are a substantial amount of things that I can do in terms of adjustment for color for clips inside of CapCut, which is awesome. Just looking at this panel, you can drop a LUT on a clip, you can adjust the temperature, the hue, the saturation, and then they also have HSL as well, which is what I'm gonna adjust right now in this clip. So I'm gonna pull out the majority of my blues. I just like my stuff super neutral. I'm gonna just pull out the saturation on that. For the green, I'm also gonna pull out a lot of the saturation as well. You can see that that's heavily affecting that back wall. And for my skin tone, I'm just gonna give it a slight bump, drop down the brightness on my skin so it's deep. And that's pretty much it. This is my first reel. This is a Black Pro Mist filter, and this might be the most used lens filter for budget filmmakers. But why? Traditional film had a few different characteristics to it that just cannot be replicated with modern camera sensors. Halation is one of those characteristics. Halation is when light spreads beyond its proper boundaries. It's basically that nice bloom you get when something is almost blown out in the shot. Diffusion filtration has been used in filmmaking for a long time, but the Black Pro Mist filter is such a huge impact on the budget filmmaking community because of its price and overall popularity. It comes in plenty of different strengths, but I think anything beyond a fourth is a bit too stylistic for me. What's your favorite diffusion filter? Y'all probably hear my dryer going crazy in the next room, but this next reel is something that I also wanted to showcase as far as one of the features that you can do inside of CapCut. So one of the really dope things you can do in CapCut is you can do speech to text. So this is a little bit different than creating captions. It's where you type out what you want one of the pre-made voices to say. I specifically chose the TikTok voice, ironically, but basically all you need to do is create a text layer. And then up here in the panel, what you can do is you can click on text to speech, and then it has all of these different pre-made voices, and you can click through these and kind of just select the one you want. And then once you like it, you do start reading, and then it'll create a separate audio file, and you can move this audio file around to specifically where you want it to pop in at for whatever trend type of video you're doing for your vertical. So check this reel out.
The lens. The shots.
CapCut is awesome, man. There's so many different features and things that you can do inside of this program. It is completely free. I highly recommend you guys check it out and download it. I do think that this is the best application to create short form content in because the abundance of different features that you have is just incredible. And there's so many other things coming to the program as well, the platform, like auto resizing. You can collaborate coming soon. They have a background remover for video clips, which is awesome. So I highly recommend it. You can do it on mobile, you can do it on desktop. It's going to be a link down in the description if you guys want to check out CapCut. But this has been my process of creating reels for the next 2 weeks in a day. The process has been super simple. I sat down, I filmed the talking head portion of it. I'm sitting in here in CapCut, I'm chopping everything down. This thing is going super fast, man. So if you are inconsistent like me, this is a process that you probably need to get behind to get onto this vertical short form content, I guess wave. And CapCut is the application to do it in, man. I really do think that. So yeah, man, do me a favor, head down to the comment section and let me know, do you plan on doing this? Have you used CapCut before? Have you heard of CapCut before? This thing's awesome, man. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop it a like. But with that being said, I'm out, y'all. Peace.